Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. We eat sandwiches and play games. Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. A podcast for everyone's taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you jive turkeys listen to. This week, the assassins are fighting in the battlegrounds. The news is giving back. Our topic is competing. And our dragon this week is the best CEO, Team 17 CEO, Debbie Bestwick. And as always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
Hey, so Lewis is not back this week, unfortunately. He had some work to do this week, so we're going to fill in for him again.
He's
He's got a job.
Yeah.
He's a big working man now.
Right. Good for you. Good for you, Lewis. Make
That's
them
right.
dollar bills. I mean, that's how you pay for the games, right?
And the turkeys.
And the turkeys.
And the stuffing. And the mashed potatoes.
Oh, gosh.
And the cranberry sauce.
Food is expensive.
If you didn't know, it was just Thanksgiving.
Oh, damn. Hell
Yo,
yeah,
was
it was
it?
Thanksgiving. Or for those of you who don't live in the U.S., Thursday.
Yeah. That was pretty funny because we streamed on Thursday for Lewis because he was driving back from Orlando. And so we're like, all right. So we started it, and we have one of the people that was in chat is in Germany. And they're like, oh, by the way, happy Turkey Day. I was like, oh, thank you. Happy Thursday.
And he's like, it's Friday.
Yeah, it actually was at that point, yes.
Dang it. I was trying to be empathetic and stuff.
But you all had a plentiful feast, I hope.
Yes, we did.
Good.
How about you guys?
Oh, fantastic. This was the first Thanksgiving that Mandy and I have cooked on our own. This is since we did a distant Thanksgiving from our parents, and we stayed at home.
The dinner was delicious, but more importantly, the sandwiches today were just on point.
Just
Thanksgiving
killer.
Sandwiches are my favorite, and you only get them
Yeah.
once a year. You never have Thanksgiving leftover
Y'all,
sandwiches.
we did it. We did Thanksgiving. Like we did it. The turkey was like turkey, and the stuffing was amazing, and the stuffing and it was great. We did it. The cranberry sauce, boom, smack.
We did.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, cool. So let's get into our games this week then.
What are you playing?
This week, I'll start us off before we get into the meat and potatoes of this entire podcast.
More Thanksgiving references.
The meat and potatoes.
That's right.
Oh, mead.
Actually, you would be like the potatoes, we would be the meat.
That's true. I am the potatoes. I'm okay with this. That's fine. This week, I played Hearthstone Battlegrounds. In case you don't know, Hearthstone is a collectible card game, kind of like Magic the Gathering, if you played that, or Pokemon. However, it's all online. It's Blizzard's version of it.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh a card game?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
Yep.
What's the game where you pull the lead, you pull a thing and it spins and they fight each other?
Pachinko?
Okay, that's not a card game. That's Beyblade.
Oh.
And that's a lifestyle, sir.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to retract this. I'm in my 30s.
This has nothing to do with Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Not at all.
What's the AOL? That's what I feel like. How do I find the email? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome back to
played
Tangents, the podcast, everyone, where the tangents never end. But this game, it's one of those types of games. So Battlegrounds is a mode inside of it where it's a auto battler or an auto chess, if you will, which is a playoff of another type of game. It's a lot of very involvement in it. But this is the only game inside of Hearthstone that if you don't put any money into it, that you're still on pretty much an even playing field with everyone else.
That's cool.
And since I don't put any money into it, it's the most fair. However, if you had watched my stream on Monday, you would have realized or also thought, this isn't fair. Brian's just losing all the time. Why does he even play this game? This game's terrible towards him.
These are things I said out loud on stream.
It is.
You like this?
Which was very funny considering the day before I had won like 3 games almost in a row. And then I did this stream 1-0 for a solid 3 hours.
Wait,
I feel
didn't
like
win?
it didn't happen. So, it didn't happen on stream. It didn't happen.
Hold on. You didn't win 1 game on stream?
I placed, I think, once in the top 4, which is technically winning. But that's it. The rest of the time was bottom.
If I was watching, and I had reached that final hour, I think I would have been more disappointed if you did win one at that point and then broke your streak.
It was very funny. So if you want to, go watch the stream because it's hilarious how often I lost.
Funny in that self-deprecating, humbling way.
Yes. Yes, it was. And then the very next day, I was like, all right, let me play this game again. The first game I lost. The second game I came in, I think, second or third. The third game I won. The fourth game I won. And then I was like, see, look. And I like posted it on that Discord. I was like, look, I can win, guys. I don't know what was going on.
This has been my whole week. He plays the game and like he wins a lot now. And he's like, look. I'm like, I don't. This is still a really boring game.
I did it.
I swear, I'm not as bad as this game as that entire 3 hours made me seem.
Yeah, Joe, are you double checking these screenshots? Are you sure he's just not getting victory images off of Google or something?
Oh man, no, but I feel like I should now.
What are you giving away the goose for? What are you giving it away?
Swipe right, Brian. Swipe.
Yeah, swipe, Brian.
Where's this picture come from?
Yeah. In all honesty, I am you have reinvigorated my zest to play an auto battler.
Oh no.
Because, sorry, Mandy.
I'm sorry,
Troy,
Amanda.
whenever Troy plays auto battlers, he's in the bathroom for like 45 minutes, and I like knock, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And you just hear the noise in the bathroom.
Yeah,
I was like, "All right."
Like the shower started, but I haven't gotten in yet. I'm like, I'm just finishing this round. Just hold on.
The fish would like some water, Troy.
I always forget that it's like 40-minute games.
Yeah.
But I liked auto chess. I really like Hearthstone. Like that's like one of my favorite card games. Period. So the idea that they're meshing those two together, I'm for it.
Yeah. It's a fun game. If you haven't played it before, again, it's completely free to download Hearthstone, and then this version of the game is also completely free, and it's the most fair.
And Troy, if you stream, maybe you could win a few.
I'm going to win my first match, Brian.
That would be amazing.
Nice kid.
I would be cheering you on. But that was my game this week, Hearthstone Battlegrounds. And then what about the rest of you three? Did you guys play something different this week?
No.
Nah, hell no. We're committed.
Still on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PS5.
Valhalla.
Valhalla. Mandy, how you doing with Assassin's Creed Valhalla? What's your week been like?
I'm really enjoying it. I can say that I am level 130-ish. So that's the range that I'm in. Because of the way that the game is, the story path isn't very linear, so it's hard to tell between all of us like where exactly in the story that you are, but that's approximately where
that's
my
been one of my
is.
favorite parts because Mandy and I were both playing this game, and we are both fortunate enough to have dedicated PS5s to ourselves.
Just flexing over there, I see.
Big flex. Big
Humble
flex.
brag.
And so it's cool because we're playing at the same time, but we have incredibly different tales and like journeys of how we're getting to places. I may have put in more hours at this point, but she's still discovering things that I haven't seen yet because of the path she's taking. That's really cool. Like that's open world right there for you.
Yeah, it's very well done. My takeaway for this week is that I'm done looking for things underground. If it's not really important, if I walk up and there's like a gold dot underneath my feet, gold is for treasure, so it indicates that there's something special near you. If it's not like a big item, if it's not real important, I'm like, nah, maybe later.
Yeah, what audacity do you have to be under the ground and not be cool armor? Okay, who do you?
I'm not looking for stairs anymore. I'm not looking for basements. I'm not driving into the water to look for a subterranean tunnel that runs under a house unless it's worth it.
Yeah, who do you think you are for me to come all the way down here and give me 20 pieces of leather and 30 pieces of ore?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm not going to like it anymore.
I'm with you. I don't think I'm into that.
What about you, Joe?
I had a couple of things happen this week that were very hard setbacks, actually. I haven't told anybody yet. So I wasn't doing story missions in the game. I even got to the point where when they told me in the settlement to go do something, this might be ever so slightly spoilerific for anyone else who is, I don't know anyone's name. So I will probably say what their quest is about, but it kind of will be spoilery. So, be careful while listening if you really don't want anything. But that being said, I didn't even talk to people in the settlement to be able to create settlement stuff.
Oh, what?
So I left the settlement and then went out into the world because I didn't. It was like, go talk to your brother, and I was like, why? I don't care about this settlement thing. I'm gonna go find synchronization points. I'm gonna go find glowy stuff. Are those wolves? Yeah, we friends now. So I went out into the world, and then I spent about 3 hours in this one place that starts with the G, trying to kill like
Gloucestershire?
100. I don't know the names of anything. It's like in the middle. I think you're supposed to be.
Oh no,
yeah, like I don't know, something Berg. I don't know, but like I'm in this.
Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds like it actually. I'm in this fortress essentially. Like it's actually supposed to be a city. I know. I only know these things now. I did not know them then. So I'm in this place and I'm like, ooh, there's a whole lot of red dudes in there. I am going to go plug people in the head with my bow and arrow. This is going to be dope. So I start traveling around, traversing in the inside of this wall. And the original reason I was there is because I went underground into a cave and then tried to come out underneath something and it didn't work because there was something in the way. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to go on top of this and I'll go murder the guys up there and I'll move whatever it is and then I'll find the glowy bit or whatever I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I literally spent 2.5 hours clearing out this area that is so massive not realizing they were just respawning bad guys because it like by the time I got done with the 8 places there are 20 something guys all standing around, they were respawning them and I was like, okay, 3 hours into doing that I was like 2.5 hours in and I'm getting kind of annoyed. I'm like, are they just respawning? Is that what's happening? And I don't know it. And I'm getting kind of angry that this hasn't cleared. Where's the one red guy left that I need to kill to make this area like glow and be like, cool, it's yours now. Okay.
I don't think it does.
My game crashed. My game hard crashed. And it was like, there is a general error. That's what it said on the screen.
You killed so many people. They were just like, okay, timeout.
So I restarted in front of the place with no one dead. And I was like, all right,
no.
You know what? I've got the little alert thing going off, like, go talk to your brother, go start a settlement. I'm like, all right, fine. Maybe I need to like not do this for just a little while. I go talk to the brother. I start the settlement. I happen to have already done a couple raids by myself, apparently. So like, I got some stuff. I could build some houses and whatnot. And after I talked to the dude, he was like, all right, cool. Go out and talk to this other person. Go talk to this person. What, you're level 3 in your settlement? That's dope. Now you can have these things. And then I talked to his wife. And his wife was like, hey, girl. Yeah, her name. She's like, hey, girl, I'm a dope chick. You're a dope chick. Go make friends. Make some allies. We be dope chicks together. We make this world. And I was like, yeah, I'm about that life. So I go out. I just say yes to the first ally you're supposed to go to. And I spend a little bit of time getting over to the same place that I was in for about 3.5 hours before my game crashed. And I walk over there and I am like seeing red, and it's not the pulsing red like I would like kill the guys with the headshots red. I think I like Kill Bill style whistling, walking up into this place. I was so angry. So I get in there. It only takes about an hour to kill all the guys this time because I'm so under leveled it's not even funny. I mean, I haven't done anything in this story. I'm like level 20. And I think you're supposed to be level like 55 or something. And I'm like, whatever. Headshot's a headshot. So like, I get done with it. I meet this dope, like I go to these guys. You have to go get her people. You get back to the city. And I meet this dope chick and she's like, yo, I got a traitor in my midst. And this is a cool thing. And you're going to help me out with this. And you're like, yeah, dope. I'll find your traitor. And my game crashed.
No.
Okay, so the first time, so then I went and read about this because I was, luckily enough, I had killed everybody in the town. I just had to talk to everybody again.
Yeah.
So upside, it wasn't like it took away 3 hours of work. But I found that apparently there is a ton of these kinds of crashes that they just updated a few days ago. If you were doing story mission stuff to where you couldn't possibly proceed in the area you were in without the story mission being available, it would let you do everything. And then as soon as it got to the point where you were supposed to go talk to the person that doesn't exist at this point in time in the game, they're not there for you to interact with so you can move forward. The game spazzed out and crashed.
Oh.
And so they just patched a bunch of them. There was a couple in Norway, apparently, where if you didn't go interact with or if you interacted with the seer too soon, the game would crash. And their response, Ubisoft's response to this was, you're early enough in the game for where that doesn't matter, just start over.
Oh, God.
That was in Norway.
Jeez.
So having recognized this is what was happening to me, I went and talked to every person they told me to talk to immediately. I was like, well, I can't spend any more time in this game running around synchronizing stuff and having it taken away from me. I can't do this anymore.
Oh my
so aside
goodness.
from that, that was my week. That was my first couple
Wow.
days this week with Assassin's Creed.
You know,
And
yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
gonna-
I was blown away with how aggravating that was. And at the same time, the game's so damn pretty. I don't care.
very
I'm
pretty
still getting
game.
the
It's
horse. I'm
so
still running
pretty.
around. It's still great. I still love it.
I'm going to retract my open world statement from earlier because you're right. Assassin's Creed is more like a guided open world, I would say, instead of a true open world. Where Breath of the Wild is like a true open world game. Yeah, you're right, Joe. Like I'm so like trained with the past 2 games that I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you could go all over this place and you could do anything you want. But the game isn't thinking you're going to do that, so they haven't made the caveats or built enough of the design to take into account different playstyles like that.
Right.
And I think it's more of a guided open world experience where they put gates there where there's levels. Like you travel through a map and certain areas are just above your level. You can still go there, but you'll probably get killed very easily. Like you said, you were under leveled. I had those same learning curves on stream as well, Brian, where I got my butt handed to me because I didn't understand where I should or shouldn't go. And I was like, I'll go raid this place and this place.
The boundaries are rivers, so depending on
Yes.
what side of the shore you're on, it could be like 50 or like 250.
Yes.
And the game only goes
Yeah.
up to 350, so that's a
Yeah.
big jump.
And so when I would go to those lands and then I'd be like, this is really difficult. Why would you even allow me to come here? I was like, oh, okay. I'm not supposed to be here. All right.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you're right. You start seeing how the designers want you to play the game. And it really has like distinctive wiggle room in that, but there's still a pretty set path that they want you to go.
On an upside, we did have a great experience with the PlayStation chat. We think we're going to develop what we're calling our Assassin's Creed Society, which for Thanksgiving, we joined a group of friends of ours who are also playing Assassin's Creed. And then all 3 of us were on mic playing Assassin's Creed together.
Yeah.
And we discovered that really Assassin's Creed is made to be played with 3 people because that's how many people it takes to understand what's going on.
To explain the story.
That's how many brain. So we're gonna induct Joe into our Assassin's Creed Society, and then we'll we'll
Because
game.
that way, while you're getting lost,
Is this so you guys can realize when I start to melt down because my game errored out because I don't know how to listen to instructions? When it happens live, you can be like, well, you probably shouldn't have done that. And I'd be like, oh, so many curse words.
you see, we are your guides. We are your Assassin's Creed therapy guides.
But it was fun because you'd be in like a like I was in a thing where I was fighting a bunch of these very large wolves, and they were like, oh, it's like, oh, I'm having a really hard time, and like, oh, arrows towards the haunches, and it was like just enough to not ruin it, but to be like, oh, I did that, and then they'd be in another puzzle and be like, I'm running around this thing. I was like, no, look high, rather than like.
Yeah.
So it was fun
Yeah.
to both that or someone being in a puzzle you just did and just hearing them curse over and
Yeah.
over and over again. Be like, yeah, I remember that.
For me,
so nostalgic.
For me, my week has been doing the legendary boss fights, the legendary hunting, like the animals, and the boss fights that are just like your Demon Souls-esque, like make sure you're blocking and evading and whatnot. And I'm playing on hard. And so what was great about the group we had is that it's very rewarding. The group we had, 2 people had already gone through those fights. So it was nice for them to give me like some general tips as to, or to help make me think of things like, oh, okay, that person is fire. I'm going to bone up on my fire resistant runes and put those into my armor so that I don't light on fire when I fight them. Things like that I think were really helpful about this like
Or a
Assassin's
hint of
Creed
like,
group.
oh, I was 90 when I did that, and I was okay. I was like, oh, okay,
Right,
so maybe
okay.
I'll go back now
Yeah.
that I'm 110. I'll probably be able to do it now. Kind of thing.
Otherwise, it's such a lonely game.
It was very fun. I would highly recommend the both playing Assassin's Creed with other people, but also using the chat feature in the PS5. It's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
fluid.
I will say, though, Orlog just gets better and better and better. Every person I play, of which
Yeah.
at this point in the game, because of 2 God's favors I have, I do not ever lose matches now. It doesn't matter if it's the first time I play them or anything. Like, I just sit there and play,
Joe.
and I don't ever lose because of these 2
Joe,
God's favors.
you just wait until they add multiplayer to that chess game. You and me, we're going head to head because I have, I never lose. I do lose, but I have a pretty good God favor set. We're gonna get our dice on.
Oh,
They
it's
get
so
insane
good.
later.
It's they're the most pathetic seeming God favors too, might I add, and they are the best.
All right, after this podcast, we're gonna go deep on Orlog.
I got you.
Get some serious strats.
We'll make a video.
Nice.
But yeah,
All right,
generally
cool.
enjoying the game. I'm looking forward to completing it. I'm about
It's
70
great.
hours in. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I'm sure you're probably only halfway through.
Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So that'll do it for our games this week. Now it brings us to our news segments. News. This week, I'm going to start off with something that's a little personal to me, but also is a little, I'm sure it might be a big deal after this. Streamer Admiral Baru had his 7th anniversary on Twitch Friday, and to celebrate, he decided to give back to his community and match however many subs he had at that time and give that many back to his chat and to everybody else.
That's cool.
And so, as of the day that it came, he had 21,000 subscribers to his channel. So he decided to give away 21,000 gift subscriptions back.
Wait a second. That's like at least $5 a pop, right?
Yes, that's $5 each one of those.
Holy crap. Good for him doing so well.
He cleared it with both Twitch and his bank beforehand, like a month or two beforehand.
Oh my gosh.
And what he did was he ended up giving away 1,000 every single half an hour.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so is my math right? Is that over $100,000?
Yes.
That is $100,000.
That's correct.
He does get, a percentage of that back because it is still go back to him. However, he does still get taxed on the money that he gets back from him giving it, So,
gosh. So you got to be feeling pretty good about your finances.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you could gift that out. Did you get one, Brian?
I did.
Yay.
Yeah.
Did you get us one? I don't watch him, but if he's just giving them out.
He is just giving them out, guys. And before you wonder if he could have done anything else with that money, he has given over $100,000 to charity throughout his entire streaming career. He does several charity streams a year, and he always matches whatever his viewers give. He matches that as well.
So you're saying he has money?
What's that?
So you're saying he has money?
Yes, he has lots of money. He has roughly $20,000 subscribers every single month. That's how big he is. But this year, when he was like, all right, this is going to be my 7th anniversary, let's just give back to the community. Let's make this a thing. So that's what he decided to do. So good on him. That's Admiral Baru. He's awesome. He's a really good streamer. And then moving on, as far as we know, Square Enix's Avengers did not sell as well as they were hoping, which is a little bit of an understatement. And this week, we found out just how much it fell short. The game has not even recouped the development costs of the game. And it also came out that if it wasn't for that specific game, Square Enix's video game division would have actually been profitable this year.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. They were putting a lot of eggs in that basket, I remember.
And it took a very long time to develop. It was Wasn't it delayed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was delayed a lot.
It's just the gameplay. I mean, when it came down to it, or like the massive game, it seemed like a good story. The graphics looked good. It just seemed like it would...
Short and repetitive?
Yeah, it seemed like the game may be long, but like the gameplay loop would just be kind of shallow, I guess.
Right. It seemed very like Lego Star Wars to me. Or like one of the Lego games, and I feel like that works for Lego. Is you play the level and then you come back and you play as someone else. You come back and you pick up the things that you didn't get before. But that didn't seem like the type of game I wanted that for. I wanted something that was more like open world or something that was more interactive.
I think a problem with it is that it was also confusing. It was hard to tell people like, hey, this is kind of like Lego where you can come back and play as a different character, do different things, but also they all have equipment, so it's kind of like Destiny. But you can't see the equipment. But it's also like Uncharted with like
an overarching story,
quick time events and stuff like that. So I think it was just
trying to do too much.
Yeah. I still want to play it, but I was one of those people who was kind of interested until I saw the gameplay, and I was just like, I'm sorry.
So you're saying it's your fault?
I am partially at fault here.
I mean, the game right now, at least for Black Friday and for whatnot, is on sale for half off, which is $30, and I'm still not pulling the trigger on it because
that's halfway to a game that I actually want to play.
Exactly. That's actually exactly what it is. That's a great point, Troy. So yeah, I mean, sad news, but I mean, hey, hopefully it'll pick back up because they're still developing for it. They still have actor DLC and stuff like that, so it's going to be wild.
The greatest thing about the latest generations of video games is they're not done. They can be made better. Destiny is the perfect example of that. That was a bad game, and it became a great game. because of how they
Exactly.
supported it. So I'm for it.
Absolutely. And then moving on to CD Projekt Red has stated that they are full steam ahead with Cyberpunk's release date and that they have to release it on December 10th.
2099.
Yeah, it's 20.
I mean, at this point, why not just delay it again? This one's just for funsies, though.
Oh, yeah,
They delay
totally.
it by one day
that'll
just
work
for
so
fun.
well.
Yeah. Or what they should do is they're like, no, we're actually going to bump it up by one day. December 9th, the shadow drop.
That would probably work. They'd get so much goodwill for it being a day early.
Except for the people that took off for the second time for the date that it's supposed to come out. So now it came out a day earlier. They're having.
That would be very funny.
I'm looking forward to that game, and like we said, I'm happy it got delayed because now I don't feel like a fire to try and beat it before the end of the year. If it came out a month ago, then I would have been like, yeah, I want this to be on my game of the year list. I mean, like really put in the time, and I now I feel like if I beat this in January, February, then that's fine. I can take my time.
Or even the original release date, which was the 20th of November. I'm really glad it wasn't because especially how long Valhalla is and all these other games.
Yeah, Valhalla's long.
There's no way. You go from one open world game to another. It's kind of crazy. And finally, some fun news with Masahiro Sakurai. He tweeted out that he was able to get a PS5 on launch day.
and worth noting, Sakurai is the maker of Smash Brothers Ultimate and all the Smash Brother games.
Yes, the guy who never sleeps.
Yeah, he never sleeps.
Yeah, he actually got it from a pre-order at a retailer in Japan, which shows that even big names had to do their own lead work in order to get one. All this tells me, though, is that we're going to be getting Astrobot as a playable character. That's all it tells me.
Wait a second.
That would be so cool.
Let's put that out in the ether, everyone.
That's what I'm doing.
Astrobot.
Astrobot I could 100% see in Smash Brothers. So that's what I'm betting on. That's what I'm betting on. That's going to be the very last character in this the newest fighter pass is going to be Astrobot.
Yeah, he's just buying it for research. That's
Exactly.
all. He's still working on the game. He never stops working on the game.
He doesn't. He still hasn't slept since 1980. That's crazy. So that'll do it for the news. However, we still have my favorite segment, which is Turn Up for What?
Turn it for what?
And this week, it's with Fanula from Bree.
In this week's news, hospitalizations spike as hundreds of villagers are admitted for hypothermia and hypothermia-like symptoms. At the behest of a somewhat demanding turkey, these island residents dove into the ocean in late November to fetch a variety of shellfish. When questioned about his previous sous chefs, Franklin the turkey was somewhat vague, leaving many to wonder if this tragedy has occurred before. In related news, snow began to fall on many islands in the Animal Crossing archipelago, sending flurries of excitement through the community. Hopeful residents turned to Nook founder and CEO Mr. Tom Nook to request winter necessities. However, the somewhat stubborn raccoon has outright refused to expedite shipping. He was quoted as saying, "It's not winter till I say it's winter." For these stories and more, tune in next time. Until then, I have been Fanula from Bree reporting. Buy low, sell high, and stay safe.
Turn it for what?
My favorite segment. That's so fun. And it's a good thing. Just really small words are used during that. You know, you don't have to worry about. But that'll do it for our news segment. Now that brings us to our Mighty Morsel Tasty Topic.
Mighty Morsel Tasty Topic.
And this week, Troy's going to bring it to us.
Yeah, check it out. So Thanksgiving just passed us, and we were spending time with our families, whether it was, in person or via Zoom or whatnot. And so we were thinking, hey, we got families. What are some good Thanksgiving/family games, and how do we play them? Is it usually a fun community event where you all come together, or is it something where that kind of brings out the cutthroat in Uncle Jerry? And so what are family games like for you, and what makes a good family game for you guys?
At the Reaver household, I don't know if we've had a fun community family event quite like Wii Sports. When Wii Sports came out, we had the full 5 of us up there playing the bowling, playing the tennis, and I think there was something about like the simplicity of it, or the translation from real life events into something that my parents could understand, that quite brought us together as a family, like the Wii Sports age.
Wii Sports during the holidays was the closest I got to making my dad understand video games. Like that was like, he saw the boxing one and he was like, oh. I'm like, yeah, this is what video games are. He's like, oh, and then it never touched anything else again. But Wii Sports definitely got us close.
I had much the same experience with Wii Sports with my family and Wii Resort. Every time a holiday would come over, I would make sure I'd brought that pad, the balancing pad, and brought all the things over. It was quite fun. Everybody got into it. It was always like competitive. Who could beat whose scores on whatever? How to do something faster? Who figured out how to do whatever it was, like how it was supposed to actually be done? It was really fun.
For myself, for the entire family to get together, it was normally just like card games. We'd be playing like Uno or something along those lines. But when it came to actual video games,
Scattergories.
Yes, categories. But when it came to like the select few, like if it was my brother, we would be playing like Tekken 2 or something like that. We would actually break out the old PS, PlayStation 1 or 2. I forget which one it came out for. I think it was PlayStation 1. We would break that out, and then we would just play that. And then if it was my dad, we would actually just play Gran Turismo. Probably the third one was our favorite one.
I remember some early memories with my sister where after Thanksgiving dinner we would pop in Madden, and this is like the Super Nintendo version of Madden, because that's what people do, right? You eat some turkey and then you watch some football.
Oh yeah.
But we're not really sports people, so instead we would play football in the video game form. And it was definitely a nice bonding moment, I would say.
One of the games that my family liked to play was Indy 500 on a really old computer. So it was like a 6-bit sound. It was not. If memory serves me right, it wasn't even like it was a purchased copy. I think it was the thing that came with the computer. And like it was just a game that you could play. So like everybody took turns playing this racing game. And it's a horrible game, but you had to know the name of different race car drivers. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget the name Al Unser. I have no idea what he won or whatever it was, but I think it was 1958. He won the Indy 500 or something like that. But that guy's name was like my favorite name to type in.
Al Unser. Well, what about your extended family, your friends' family, your family that are friends? Are there any community games or type of games that you think work best for them, for like a friend environment?
I think for nowadays, for like the newest generation, I do think Overcooked or Overcooked 2, I think works beautifully because you can actually play co-op or you can play versus mode. Right, so that game is just bonkers.
You can cater to people that want to play together, and you can cater to the a-holes.
And catering works because it's food. And
hey,
I love that game, and watching people who don't normally play it, because you have to actually talk to one another while you're playing. You can't just play the game essentially unless you're playing in a versus mode. If you're with other people, you have to be like, you gotta chop the thing. I need more mushrooms. I need this. Somebody clean the plates. It's the best.
Yeah, I think a good like family type game like this needs to have some type of element that enforces or promotes communication.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think in the end, that's what families want to do. They want to talk to each other and have a good time. Even when we were having the Assassin's Creed, party, so to speak, it was really about the communication, us talking to each other. We weren't playing a multiplayer game on Thanksgiving, but it felt like we were having this like experience because we were talking to each other.
Don't want to talk to anybody. We just recently got this game called Witch It, and they have other games like this, but basically you turn yourself into an object and then you play hide and seek. So people run around and try to find which of the items is fake. And you can run away from them, so you're just like a wheel of cheese rolling away, or you're like broom tumbling down the stairs.
You can turn yourself into a candle and then place yourself on a dinner table, and then they have to try and find you.
But no communication in that one, aside from laughter. Just constant laughter.
And that good, like, hee, 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 hee. You just passed me. Hee, 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 hee.
That's great.
But yeah, thank you all. I wanted to just take a little slice of wholesome family pie. Oh, that's gross. That sounds gross. It's like a murderer.
I got a whole family in this pie.
Yummy.
Really case Cousin Jerry.
But thank you all.
Yeah, of course. That was a great topic, Troy. So thank you. And that was our Mighty Morsel Tasted topic. And now that brings us to our Dragon of the Week.
Ado. It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so sleek. It's the Dragon of the Week. It'll make you freak. Dragon of the Week. Dragon of the Week is our chance to learn about industry professionals and the studios that they work with. We like to kind of look behind the scenes of video games and bring those names to the light. And this week, Brian is going to bring someone to the light for us. Bring it on, Brian. That's right.
And this week, I'm going to be bringing you guys Debbie Bestwick, the CEO of Team 17.
Ooh.
And yeah. Debbie Bestwick was born on March 7th, 1970 in the United Kingdom. She has always had a love of games since the age of 12 when she played Football Manager on the Spectrum that her brother had. And this is Football Manager, not Football Manager.
Gotcha.
And so while she was taking her tests that were like the equivalent to our country's SATs or ACTs, she needed some summer money. And so she decided to get a job, like any normal kid would do. And so she had her choice of a fruit and vegetable store or to work at a video game store.
Fruit and vegetable. Fruit and vegetable. Yeah. Is that where she went?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Thankfully for all of us, she decided on the video game store job.
Oh, gosh. Brian, if you had pulled one on us and you just end up talking about this grocery store owner.
That would have been the best.
Games. It was just and that's how she got the job. And my local Publix, she's the best cashier they've ever had. Shout out to you.
Sells the best pears.
And so she worked at the video game store job, and she loved the job so much she never went back to finish her tests.
Wow. That's a hero right there.
She's like, no, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing. And it also helped out that shortly after she started, the manager quit, and so Bestwick was actually offered the position of manager at the store.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And she didn't waste it. Yeah, they quit.
I was gonna throw
they
some
quit,
conspiracy.
or, she murdered them,
I wasn't going to say it.
And she didn't waste any time, though. She actually negotiated the sale of the shop to a larger retailer within 12 months of having the position.
Wow.
And the person who actually bought the shop, Michael Robinson, did so because his shop couldn't get Bestwick's customers to leave her shop and come to his.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So he did what any person would normally do in that situation with a lot of money. And so he bought them and closed that shop and had Bestwick come do for his store that he was doing for her old one.
That's great.
He was like, hey, you're really good at this, so come do that for my stores.
You are the better entrepreneur.
That's right. Thank you for saying that word. And
I gotcha.
So she was brought on as promotions manager for the company, and she was just really busy. She started the first loyalty membership program, and they started their own games magazine for the customers, and they also won Indie Retailer of the Year.
Dang.
So this is crazy. And also, by the way, she's about 19 years old at this point.
Wow.
What year is this about?
This is 1989. This is roughly 1989.
Okay, cool.
Michael Robinson also owned a video game company that produced software demos called 17-Bit Software. So they came up with the idea that since he owns a development studio and a retailer chain where they can sell said games, why not just incorporate the two? So in 1990, they combined with a Swedish developer called Team 7 that Robinson was also working with at the time and formed Team 17. So he ended up moving Bestwick over to this venture along with one other employee. So there was only 3 people in the company besides the 3 developers from Team 7 that they brought over. And so Bestwick recalls that time that she had to do pretty much a little bit of everything from QA to marketing, talking to distributors. And then when the games were ready, they had to pack all the copies by hand into their retail boxes.
Aww.
The first game they put out, Alien Breeds, sold 750,000 copies.
Dang.
People had asked her, like, hey, do you know how well this game is selling? She's like, yeah, Yeah, I do. I have me and a bunch of my friends packing all the boxes here in the warehouse.
Oh my gosh. Those are some good
I know
friends.
exactly how well this game is selling. And so now at this point, this is 1991, and she's only 21.
Oh my gosh. I would have thought a few more years have gone by.
Oh no, this is like all of this is like hyper time for her. So things are going extremely well for the company, and they're working with outside developers and getting games made. And then one day at a trade show, a guy named Andy Davidson walks in, and he has a little game in his hand called, anybody have a guess?
Is it Super Mario Brothers? Tetris.
Nailed it.
Is it Red Dead Redemption 2?
It was. This game was called Worms.
Oh, Worms.
And so-
Oh, Studio 17. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah,
oh my
Team
gosh.
17,
we
baby.
We had more news to talk about. Holy crap.
And it was a very basic game with tiny pixels, and it was developed for the Amiga. And so he brought it in, they're playing it, and it was a lot of fun. And so they knew that it needed a lot of work, but they believed in the game so much, they actually brought him into the company and integrated him into it. And so at the time, people were talking about the new console that was about to come out, PlayStation, and Team 17 had never worked on a closed console before. That was been like the Amiga or the PC, things that are very open. So they actually talked with Ocean Software to help port the game over to not just the PlayStation, but it was ported to over 10 different consoles in a span of 6 months.
Wow.
And this decision ended up paying off big for them, and Worms would sell over 2 million copies on the PlayStation alone.
Worms is an awesome game.
Yes, it very much so is. Bestwick says this is the only time she's actually ever experienced crunch, and she has stated she will never do it again.
You know what? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then, unfortunately, this is when Team 17 began to change. Instead of working with outside developers and releasing games all the time, they became the Worms developers. In their first 3 years, they ended up releasing roughly like 30 games before this point. And then after this, it was just, hey, when's the next Worms games, guys? When's the next Worms game? And so, especially when Worms Armageddon came out, Worms was now officially a franchise, and people only ever wanted the next Worms game. And Bestwick hated this.
Aw.
She went along with it, though, because it's the company and, it is what it is, until 2010, when she bought out both Michael Robinson and the other co-founder, Martin Brown. She became CEO and changed how the studio worked. The first 2 years were spent fixing the company and becoming profitable again. And then while helping a friend who was building the PlayStation's indie program, she realized that the company should go back to what it used to do. Instead of being what Bestwick called a yo-yo studio, where they would release a game, get a whole bunch of money, then go through a drought until the next game releases, and then repeat that process, she wanted to go back to how the company's roots were and work with other developers and just constantly be releasing games. So she went out and she actually started recruiting. The first game she found was the Kickstarter game, The Escapists. She backed at the 100-euro level, which gave her access to the developer's contact info. So she was like, all right, sweet. Let me try to arrange a meeting with this guy, and so I can get him to, kind of come in so I can talk with him. And so she realized that he actually only lived 20 minutes away from her. And so she's like, all right, sweet. Let's do a meeting. Would Monday work for you? And he was like, nah, I got plans with my friends. I can't make that meeting. I'm going to go out to the pub and drink some beers with them. And so she was not deterred, though, and she tried again and explained to them who she was and what she wanted to do. And she offered him a tour of the Team 17 studios. And this guy this guy at the time was like a roofer. He was just an industry person. He wasn't like, he didn't know anything about the industry.
Going to a pub with his friends is everything. Like,
It
no. You're not cutting in on that time.
So he came in, and so when he came in, she was like, oh, when you come in, make sure you bring a copy of Escapist. We'd like to see it. So he's like, yeah, sure. So he brings it in, and she describes it as, it was the most beat-up, old-looking laptop she has ever seen in her entire life.
Aww.
And this entire game was written on this old, beat-up laptop that could probably barely run the game.
Oh, my gosh. That's so cute.
And so she brought him, and, she showed him around. And she's like, hey, you want to work with us? We'll incorporate you into our thing. And he absolutely said yes. And he became the very first game published under the new Team 17. and it actually ended up selling over 1.5 million copies.
Wow.
That's a lot of roofs.
It is a lot of roofs. And so they would go on and do the same for games such as Yooka-Laylee, Overcooked, and even Fall Guys.
Wait,
some
they're
of
the
them.
Fall Guys people?
Yeah, Fall Guys, they published them. They published their game.
Published Fall Guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Overcooked. Dang.
Yeah. And that's actually what got me interested in this, because we were playing Overcooked, and I was like, wait, Team 17. Let me look into that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so all this is all thanks to Debbie Bestwick going back to her roots and doing what she does best. People around her call her the Simon Cowell of video games because she's so good at finding talent.
Right on.
She's won numerous
and she makes
awards.
them feel bad.
Yeah.
Subtly.
Then she yells at them and she's like, "You're trash." No.
She like negs them.
Yeah. But she's won numerous awards and recognitions from her peers, and they are all well deserved. I remember playing Worms, the original Worms, and also Worms Armageddon when I was in high school, when I was supposed to be doing work. But we were all playing Worms Armageddon because that game was so good at just killing time.
It really seems to me like Team 17 understands multiplayer in a great way. Worms is a competitive game, but it's not fast paced. It takes your time and you watch people. Overcooked is fast paced and like you need to have communication. Fall Guys, another game where it's just like this great multiplayer fun experience where it's competitive, but the competition doesn't take the forefront.
It's silly.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
absolutely is. And just the fact that she went from like taking tests for college to being like a person of, part of a brand new company within like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, is just crazy to me.
And
but
this is the breaking news part that I forgot to talk about. I watched the Golden Joystick Awards this week, and Team 17 got inducted into the Golden Joystick Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Just this week.
That's
So,
awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So my hat is off to you, Debbie Bestwick. You helped make the games industry what it is, because I mean, she just started looking at all these other new independent developers and bringing them in and just giving them the resources that they needed. And that was her specifically finding them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll do it for this week's Dragon of the Week. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this week's episode.
Boom, 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 boom.
Wow. But you can always find us online.
Find us at Taste of Dragons on Instagram to keep up with our weekly happenings and some fun visual content. Also, make sure to check out twitch.tv/Taste of Dragons. That's where we are live 6 days a week, mostly evenings. You can check out our schedule. We stream everything from Fallout to Fall Guys, from Red Dead to indies, to games that don't have pictures. We keep it real. But speaking of indies, you can also follow us on Twitter at Taste of Dragons, where we have an account that is dedicated solely to promoting independent developer content. Mandy, have you found anything this week of interest to you?
Yes, this week I wanted to talk about Children of Silent Town. It's a dark adventure game that tells the story of Lucy, a young girl growing up in a deep, dark village in a forest inhabited by monsters. People are disappearing all the time, but this time, Lucy's going to go look for them. I wanted to talk about this game just a little bit because the art style is super spooky, but also really cute. Check it out. The demo is available now on Steam.
Thank you, Mandy. We'll do so. And thank you, Brian, for throwing it to me. I'm going to throw it back to you.
Well, thank you, Troy. And as always, though, my name is Brian.
And my name is Troy.
I'm Mad.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
The
Taste of
Dragons.
Have a great week, everyone.
Can we say our names some more? Hey, talk to you, Amanda.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Talking to you, Joe. Joe, Brian, Amanda.
Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast, a podcast for everyone's taste.